Finrod Felagund was the best of the Noldor, the wisest, the most beloved, a friend to men. And that is precisely why he never stood a chance. Because the story of Finrod Felagund is not a story about a saintly elf. It is a story about a world, a broken world, where even genuine goodness is not enough to escape the consequences of a collective sin. It's a story about how the most noble heart can be ensnared by a history it did not start, but chose to follow. And in a moment, I'll show you the exact second Finrod could have turned back, why he didn't, and why that one quiet choice echoes all the way to his death in the dark. This small, personal silence will shape the fate of a kingdom. This is the tragedy of Finrod Felagund, and it changes how we see everything.
Act 1. The hero we want to believe in.
Let's start with the myth, the Finrod we think we know. In the grand, dark tapestry of the First Age, Finrod is the golden thread. While his cousins are swearing terrible oaths, burning ships, and hunting for jewels with a possessive madness, Finrod is building, learning, making friends. He is the good Noldor, the moral counterpoint to Fëanor's fire. When the first men stumble into Beleriand, lost and afraid, it is Finrod who sits with them by their campfire. He doesn't conquer, he doesn't command. He picks up a crude harp and sings. He shows them visions of starlit seas and the blessed realm with nothing but the power of his voice and his compassion. They call him Gnome, wisdom. He builds not just fortresses, but bridges between elf and dwarf, between Eldar and Edain. His kingdom, Nargothrond, is a marvel of cooperation, carved into stone with the help of dwarven friends who give him the name Felagund, hewer of caves. He is loyal. He keeps his promises. When a ragged man named Beren comes to him with a tale of an impossible quest and a ring of forgotten kinship, Finrod remembers his oath. He weeps, for he knows what it will cost. And he goes. And he dies, not in a blaze of glory on a battlefield, but in the dark, in a dungeon of his own making, defending that man with his bare hands and teeth. This is Finrod, the elf who seems to transcend the grim calculus of his kin, the one who embodies not the pride of the Noldor, but their highest potential. If anyone in this entire tragic history had the right to walk away unscathed, to be the exception to the infamous doom of the Noldor, it should have been him. So why didn't he? To answer that, we need to rewind. We need to see his first fundamental choice, not as fate, but as freedom. This is where the story changes, and where the weight begins to gather.
Act 2. The willing participant.
Here is a crucial reframe. We often see the exiled Noldor as victims of Fëanor's charisma and Mandos's curse, as if they were swept along by a tide. Finrod was not swept. Let me say that again, because everything hinges on it. Finrod was not swept. He was the eldest son of Finarfin. When the Noldor rebelled, his father turned back. Finrod did not. He was under no compulsion. No one forced the heir of the Golden House onto the ice. He went willingly. Why? Not for vengeance, not primarily for the Silmarils. The texts are clear. Finrod was driven by the same eagerness and unrest of the Noldor, by a deep personal ambition.
He had dreams, as did his sister Galadriel, of far lands and dominions that might be her own to order as she would. Think about that image for a moment. Not a reluctant follower, but a prince standing on the shores of Aman, looking east across a terrifying sea and thinking, "Out there I can build something that is truly mine." That thought has launched 1,000 ships in our own history. It's a powerful, deeply human hope. This is not a flaw. This is the essence of a certain kind of heroism. But it is also a choice, a conscious, willing embrace of the journey. Finrod did not enter this story as an innocent bystander. He entered it as a willing participant. He said, "Yes, I will take this road. I will bear this history." And that yes, it has a weight that will gather mass with every silent assent, every withheld truth. This small choice will echo far beyond what he could imagine. Which brings us to the first crack in the golden facade, a moment that sounds like a detail, but is anything but.
Act 3. A silence that weighs more than a lie.
Years pass. The Noldor are in Beleriand. Finrod, now a king, visits the hidden, shimmering kingdom of Doriath to see his great-uncle, the majestic and terrifying Thingol. And here, in these luminous, tree-lit halls, happens a scene that is easy to miss, but it's the pivot. Thingol welcomes Finrod as kin. He is suspicious of the other Noldor, but Finrod, with his Teleran blood from his mother, his golden hair, his wise and gentle demeanor, Thingol trusts him. He even advises him on where to build his hidden stronghold, Nargothrond. And what does Finrod tell Thingol about how the Noldor came to be there? He tells of the murder of their king. He tells of the theft of the jewels. He tells of Morgoth's evil. What does he not tell? He does not tell of the kinslaying at Alqualande, where the Noldor slaughtered the Teleri, Thingol's own kin, to steal their ships. He does not tell of the burning of those ships at Loskar that stranded Finrod's own friends on the grinding ice. And he most certainly does not speak of the Oath of Fëanor, that dreadful, all-consuming vow. Finrod does not lie, but he omits, he curates the truth. Now, is this understandable? Absolutely. It's loyalty to his people. It's shame. It's the desire to protect a fragile peace. We've all done a quieter version of this. But in the moral universe Tolkien builds, silence is not neutral. A secret withheld is a debt incurred. And this particular secret is a poison that will seep into the foundations of everything Finrod builds. When Thingol later learns the full truth from other sources, his wrath is terrible. He banishes the language of the Noldor from his realm, and Finrod leaves Menegroth with a heavy heart, suddenly understanding that the shadow of the curse is not just behind him, it is within the house he helped to build. Take a moment. Let that sink in. That moment in Thingol's halls, the choice to smile and say nothing, that is where the tragedy truly begins, not with a shout, but with a silence. And this is where we must pause, because a voice in your head, and rightly so, should be objecting.
Act 4. The powerful counter-argument.
Wait, hold on. This is too harsh. Finrod was different. And you are absolutely right. Let's make the case for the defense. Let's really look at why he seems like the exception. Finrod never swore the oath. He never coveted a Silmaril. He looked at the first men and saw not tools or weaklings, but people worthy of song and friendship. He listened to them. He learned from a wise woman named Andreth in a conversation that is one of the most profound in all of Legendarium. He ruled with justice. He built bridges of stone and of trust. And when the test came, he laid down his crown, his kingdom, and his life for the sake of one man and a promise. He asked for nothing in return, no glory, no guarantee. Finrod wasn't just marginally better. He seemed to operate on a different moral plane entirely. So yes, by any measure we have, Finrod Felagund was an exception, the best of them. But here is the terrible, crucial distinction. This is the point of no return for our understanding. Being an exception is not the same as being exempt. You can be the best passenger on a ship. You can be kind to the crew, wise in your counsel, brave in a storm. But if the ship itself is steering towards a doom decided before you ever stepped aboard, your personal virtue won't change its course. It might just make you the most tragic figure on deck. Finrod's nobility did not, could not, revoke the fundamental choice he made on the shores of Aman, the choice to be part of the rebellion, the choice to be complicit by his silence in its darkest secrets. He was better, but the world he chose to help build was still founded on that original, unrectified error. This is why virtue alone was never going to be enough, and that is why his story is so merciless.
Act 5. The battle he was always going to lose.
This brings us to the center of the tale, to the dread-filled dungeon. Finrod, with Beren and 10 loyal volunteers, has been captured by Sauron in the fortress that was once Finrod's own watchtower. Disguised as orcs, their true selves are hidden. Sauron doesn't know who they are. He demands they reveal themselves. What follows is not a duel of swords, but of songs, a battle of power. Sauron sings a song of domination, of unraveling, of betrayal. It peels away layers of disguise. And Finrod answers. He sings of Elvenhome, of peace, of creation, and all the magic and might he brought of Elvenis into his words. Back and forth they go, and for a time Finrod holds. His will is a shield, his voice a fortress. But then Sauron's song finds the crack. It finds the memory Finrod has carried but never voiced, never atoned for. It finds the blood on the docks of Alquilande, the stolen ships, the unconfessed sin. And Finrod's song falters. Finrod Felagund did not lose to Sauron that day. He lost to the truth he had never spoken. The disguises fall, they are revealed, and Finrod knows it is over. He has fought with all his legendary wisdom, his Ingole, that deep elven knowledge. But it was not enough, because wisdom in Tolkien's world is not a shield for the soul's hidden debts. This is the fulcrum. From here, there is no path back to the shining kingdom he wanted to build. There is only the dark pit, the slow devouring of his companions, and the final, brutal act of redemption.
Act 6. The Oath.
But before that end, let's look at the mechanism, the vehicle, an oath. Earlier, Finrod had sworn an oath of eternal friendship and aid to Barahir, the man who saved his life. It was a good oath, a noble one. Years later, Beren, Barahir's son, brings that ring to Nargothrond and calls the oath due. Here we see the collision.
Finrod's good and noble oath smashes into the terrible, all-consuming Oath of Fëanor, which his cousins Celegorm and Curufin have brought into Finrod's own halls. Finrod stands before his people and declares he will help Beren. His cousins speak against him, and they do not just argue. They weave a spell with words. They conjure visions of war and ruin. They prey on the secret fear and guilt that has lived in Nargothrond since its founding. And the people choose. They choose fear. They choose safety over honor. Imagine that hall, the cold, beautiful stone, the faces of his people turning away from him, the crown literally taken from his head, the silence. Finrod walks out with Beren and only 10 companions. His own oath has become a prison. In Middle-earth, intentions are fragile, but oaths are unbreakable forces of nature. They bind the good and the evil alike.
Act 7. The death that fixes nothing.
So we come to the end. In the dark, as his friends are killed one by one, Finrod waits. When a wolf comes for Beren, the Elf King, starved and chained, breaks his bonds with a final surge of strength. He kills the beast with his hands and teeth. He is mortally wounded. His last words are not of regret, but of grace. He speaks of long rest beyond the sea. He releases Beren from any debt, and he dies. It is a heroic death, a sacrificial death. In any other story, this would be the cathartic moment, the moment where the hero's death pays for the sin, redeems the people, and sets the world right. But this is the Silmarillion. Finrod's death fixes nothing. The curse is not lifted. The war is not won. Nargothrond, his kingdom, will later fall to ruin and dragonfire, precisely because it followed the path of fear his cousins championed. His death saves Beren, yes, but it doesn't save his world. It merely reveals that the world was already broken beyond any one person's ability to repair. This is the ultimate anti-catharsis. Finrod dies being exactly who he was at his best, and the universe does not reward him. His body is buried on a clean hilltop, a green and peaceful place. And that is all.
The tragic conclusion.
So what are we left with? Finrod Felagund was the best of the Noldor, and his story is the most potent proof that in the First Age, being the best was not a shield. It was a spotlight, illuminating the brutal, equitable logic of the curse. The doom did not hunt for the guilty. It waited for the consequences, and everyone who took that road was subject to its geography. Finrod's story tells us that personal goodness in a broken system is not a currency you can use to buy your way out. Goodness alone cannot rewrite history. It is simply the way you choose to walk through the inevitable. He shows us that you can do everything right. Keep your promises, love the unlovable, sacrifice yourself for a friend, and still be shattered by the historical wave you chose to surf. Not all heroes die because of a mistake they made. Some die because the world was built on a mistake that was never undone.